and then got better, and spent a lot of time on Got Mead, got better and better, and ended up making some really good stuff, getting out of competitions, getting really good feedback, and at one point figured out, I could really make this a career. I have my business background, and I'm making stuff that people like, and it's unique. So let's go all in, and somehow I convinced my wife the same, and so here we are.
And I love the mead, the name you came up with for it. It came out of
yeah.
Somehow I convinced my wife, and here we are.
Yeah, and the name Lost Cause, we've kind of, a little tongue in cheek, although we're kind of trying to celebrate the idea of embracing a lost cause. Kind of following your dream, finding whatever it is that you're passionate about that everyone else may think is crazy, but you have to do, and doing it. And for us, it's trying to start a meadery in San Diego, which is craft beer capital of the country, and so it's a little, it's some might say it's a crazy idea, but for us, I don't know, it's what we love, and we're going to give it a shot.
Well, and I mean, let's face it, there's already that there's a fast growing awareness of session meads, so you're going in at a good time. Yeah, and it is. It's growing here. It's clearly growing rapidly around the country. So I'm very confident in the path that Mead is on. So we just want to be a part of it. So for the meadery, are you going to basically carry forward, what you've learned so far? I mean, are you going to stick with doing the kinds of meads that you've been doing when you go pro, or are you looking at taking a different direction?
Yeah, sticking with what works. And to be honest, it's really a type of mead that is my favorite expression of what mead could be. Now, it doesn't mean it's the best expression, but it's what I prefer, what my wife prefers, and I think it will do well here in San Diego. It's not too far away from what Frank is doing and what some of the other new meaderies are doing here, where some like there's a lot of meaderies that will do a session mead where it's carbonated and it's low alcohol and it's light and refreshing, and then they'll do dessert meads, and they're still and sweeter, and more like a wine. And what I do, and what you'll find on the West Coast is kind of a combination where it's a standard strength, carbonated mead, and everything you do is carbonated, and everything's, it has that nice light carbonation and cuts through the sweetness a little bit and makes it really drinkable. And yet, you can still keep it really complex and really interesting like you would a standard strength mead. And I don't know, that's what I like to drink. So all of ours will kind of be in that vein.
Okay. That's really cool. So, I was bragging in the show page about all the medals that you won. So, I'm, bragging for you. And I'm really curious about
not claiming
that.
responsibility.
Yeah, of course not. No. I've only ever entered one competition. I'd prefer to drink it myself. But I'm not big in the competition thing. Besides, I have more fun judging them than entering them. You can taste all y'all's meads. So 32 medals just in the last 2 years?
Yeah, 32 with a nice little boost with the Domers Cup last week. So that was fun to see. But I once I started thinking about going commercial, I kind of put a lot of effort towards making competition ready meads, and I do a lot of like what Jason, who's been on a couple times recently, does, where you make a batch and then you'll split that batch up into, a 5-gallon batch may turn into 5 1-gallon experiments, and you just keep messing with it. You never really make the same mead twice. When you take that approach, you end up with some really great mead. You kind of sacrifice the, hey, I've got a keg, it's going to last a long time with this amazing mead. But it allows you to get stuff out there in competitions, learn a lot, and really hit on some, get some home runs that the judges really like. So I kind of took that approach. The whole competition thing is, you can definitely make a mead that is designed for judges rather than maybe you might tweak it a little bit for what you would actually want to produce to drink, knowing that, okay, this will be in the semi-sweet category. So, whereas I would prefer an off-dry, if I'm going to enter in a semi-sweet, I'm going to want it to be able to hold up to something with a good amount of sweetness. So that's where I got to leave it. So, making meads for competitions and doing that is definitely an art form, and I was focused on that the last 2 years, and it worked out.
That is really cool. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Manny. Go.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about this earlier. Do you feel that making mead specifically for competitions may be just a little bit different than just making your meads for consumption? Or is it the same thing?
Probably the biggest difference for me is just in sweetness, kind of like what I was hinting at. I'll make them knowing what category they'll be in. I'll just make sure that they're on the at least the middle to sweeter side of that category. So if I'm going to make a semi-sweet, I want it to not be on the drier side of this semi-sweet. Now, I would actually prefer, I love a mead that's right in the, if you're talking final gravity, like 1008 to 1010, maybe 1012. To me, that's perfect. It's a little bit of sweetness, not much. You give it some carbonation, it cuts it down even more. But for competitions, I would move that up to like a, 1016, 1018, just because it's going to be in the semi-sweet category, and judges, are expecting a little sweetness. So that's probably the only difference for me.
I like the fact that you kind of have a similar philosophy to when I started out, that you really should learn how to make a good traditional before you move on to doing the more complex ones, because it's a good base. And when I was reading your bio there, I was impressed by that, because I think that having a good base of being able to do a good traditional is makes you a much better mead maker down the line.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally agree. And that's the one thing I tell everyone that I can that's starting out. Just focus on making a dry traditional that you enjoy, and when you get there, you can do anything from there. And I think people they'll make a dry traditional, and it'll, it may not, if it's one of their first few meads, it may not come out the way they wanted, and they'll feel like they got to age it for a couple of years. And then, so they'll go straight to like the crazy ingredients. If you just keep at it, I guarantee, and this is what I tell people, I guarantee you can make a beautiful, amazing dry traditional that is, as good as you would like it to be in a month. And it may get better with age, but you can get there. You just have to keep experimenting, keep reading up on the forums, on Got Mead, keep trying to get better, and you'll end up there. And then when you have that foundation, man, you can do anything. You know, you can take the knowledge of that process and make, you know, any kind of beautiful mead. So I totally agree with that. And actually, I heard Pete say that a lot, Oscar, and kind of took it to heart.
Yeah, he does. He says that all the time. Make one kind of thing and learn to make it really well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and you think about it, it makes a lot of sense in anything you do. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And as long as you have a goal in mind, you have what, you know, hey, I'm going to make a dry traditional, I'm going to make a semi traditional, and I want it to be, you know, drinkable and really enjoyable, you know, within 4 weeks, and I'm going to keep tweaking until I get there. The things you learn with all the little tweaks during that process will change the way you make mead, and that happened to me. I have only recently kind of settled on a final process because there's so many things to play with, and if I tweak this a little, if I lower the temp a little more, can I, you know, get a little more out of it? So, yeah.
Well, who was it we were talking to that said much the same thing? It's like, I just want to keep futzing with it. And it's like, sooner or later, you got to stop and put it in a bottle. You know? Especially, I mean, if you're a home mead maker, you can futz all you like, to your heart's content forever if you want to. AJ actually has some that are contending for that.
The super pucker puss.
Yeah. But, you know, and I've got a couple myself. But, yeah, when you're professional, you can futz, but only up to a certain... That's why you have the experimental lab, you know?
Right.
That's where you do the futzing.
Yeah, the smaller batches that don't cost you a mortgage if you mess up, you know.
Well, I mean, you think about it. I mean, when I visited Schramm's Mead, he had many, you know, experimental batches that he was working on. And, you know, I mean, because he's always messing. And he was telling me, I talked to him the other day, and he said the same thing. I'm constantly tweaking. Every generation of a particular mead gets a little better, a little different, a little more towards what I perceive to be perfection, you know?
Yeah. Totally makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, and I think we have our we're going to launch with 6 meads, and we have those recipes set, which is nice because at least we know what we're doing with those, and I've tweaked those as much as you can and really satisfied. So from there, I can start to kind of make some fun experiments and know that I at least got a solid lineup.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry. Pouring noises.
That's okay. No doubt about it. We actually drink on this show.
We don't always drink alcohol,
yes, we do.
But we somebody is almost always drinking on this show. Speaking of which, Billy, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a homemade Chipotle mead.
Ooh, I like Chipotle meads.
Yeah, this was just recently bottled. It was actually aged in oak, soaked in mezcal.
Oh.
And so kind of up the smokiness a little more. And it's good. I'm trying to see how dry I can... I started off with my Chipotle or kind of any pepper mead, making them pretty sweet. And I'm experimenting with how dry I can get them and still have them really enjoyable. I think this might be the limit right here.
Oh, okay. Where'd you end up with that one?
This one was probably I think 10, 12.
Well, it's not bad.
And
it's
not bad. It's carbonated, and the spice levels. It's still balanced, but I wouldn't go any drier just because I think it would start to, the smoke and the spice might start to overtake it.
Yeah, that's a delicate balance, and I've seen a lot of it's palate too. I mean, I've had some seriously pepper meads that the pepperheads go wild for, you know. So from a saleability standpoint, you make what they'll drink, what they like, what's good, you know.